So good afternoon, Senator.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
You?
All right, pretty good.
Well, I guess let's start with the basics. And what does Ohio State do that on the defensive side to kind of attack the offenses?
They really have good personnel, as you would imagine. The defensive line is really mobile, really outstanding pass rushers, and they have a lot of them. They play a lot of guys. And, you know, at this point of the year, there's not really experience factors anywhere. You know, everybody's been playing. This is week number 10, so everybody's got their feet pretty wet, you know. So, pretty much everybody on their defense has been playing prior to the season. It's not like they're playing a bunch of freshmen or anything like that. Guys they're all pretty experienced, but the up front guys, they certainly do put a lot of pressure on people and cause people a lot of duress, let me say, in the passing game.
Obviously, no one questions your loyalty. You'll be wearing green and getting a paycheck signed by Michigan State. But when you go back to this game, there's so many people you know, whether it's ushers that work the game and people, ancillary people around. Is that fun for you to go back and see people that you spent so much time with, Coach?
You know, and when you go back, you really don't have much time to do that, though. You know, certainly there's some memories that you recall that, going back in the stadium and playing there. It's fun to go there and play, and it's fun to go back and see my grandsons. So that's another good reason for me to be going back to Columbus. So, it's a great place to play, and it's a fun place for us to go to get ready. You know, it's one of those games that when you're in the Big Ten that you look forward to every year. Mm-hmm. And you know, there are a few of those, and this is one of them. So it's a fun week. What is it about the staff and Mark in particular that's been able to kind of put last year behind you so quickly and have this thing turned around in such a fast manner this year? Well, you're asking me things that hadn't given much thought to at all. You know, we've just been working very hard, as you can imagine, since in the last season. You know, and that's not going to stop. You know, for a long time, and just a matter of getting things back together, working hard. The guys really believe in each other. There's great camaraderie on the team, and that's probably still the biggest reason why anything works in this game, how the people operate together. This is truly a team game. You know, when there's 11 guys on the field that all have to be on the same page, that's a big deal.
How come after big wins we see videos of Coach dancing, but we don't see you jumping in the mosh pit and going at it?
Because never have, never will. Hey, I'm just here trying to make things work, trying to help out, you know, and I don't need to be jumping in the middle of the pile. That's good.
The reason I say that is Brian Allen and the guys have talked about you and having fun watching you, and you are such a calming influence on the team, and when the things are not going good, but when they're good, you like to stay out of the limelight. And for you, do you enjoy that role? One of the players said it's almost like you're the team grandpa.
Well, again, you all shed light on things that have not crossed my mind in any degree. But I don't need to be in the limelight of things. You know, that's not a problem. Never really have. You know, it's fun. It's a real blessing to be here and to have this kind of job for all these years that I've had and work with all the people that I have. And it's great to sit back and watch everybody when they have a little success.
You look at Matt Sokol right now. I guess what do you see? He's had some drops that have been a little bit of an issue. I saw last week you got Dotson in there a little bit more. Is there plans to give him a little bit more reps right now?
Well, I think you know, Matt Dotson is getting to a point in the season, getting more and more experience now that he can play a little bit bigger role for us, I think. And no, I'm not really concerned about Matt Sokol's situation in that regard with receptions. Sometimes get concerned with Matt Sokol playing too much.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great contributor on special teams, and that's a really vital role for us, what he has done, and had a couple big plays last week. And so actually I'd like to get him out of there a little bit less, so see if we can work on some of that.
I'm going to ask you about recruiting Ohio and the early days with Mark D'Antonio, and he left for Cincinnati, and you were still at Ohio State, obviously, for a long time. How much communication between staffs? Because it seems like, you know, Tressel and you guys were helpful in getting him, I don't want to say funneling him players, but directing players that way that you guys maybe didn't want. How much of that really existed in 2004, 5, 6 at Cincinnati, maybe even the early days?
Yeah, probably not as much as you might think. You know, I mean, certainly stayed in close touch with Mark regardless of recruiting or any of that situation. But, you know, Mark's always done a great job while he's been up here recruiting Ohio. And, you know, we try to certainly keep doing the same right now. But, there's certain people in Ohio, just like any other state in the country, where they're homebodies and they're going to go to their home school if they can't, you know. And those are some of the decisions that you got to make in your home state all the time. Same way here, you know. And so, with a lot of us having Ohio ties, though, we have a lot of ties. You know, as I said, we have Ohio ties, so we have some connections with coaches, have had for years and years, some of us our whole lives. And so it makes it a little bit easier maybe to go back in some of those areas and have good communication with people and find out about people, but that doesn't make it necessarily easier to get guys, but you can find out about them.
Some guys like Joe Bocci grew up an Ohio State fan, not recruited by Ohio State. He talked about you recruiting him. How did you identify him, and what is your sales pitch to Joe?
You know, the sales pitch here is, you know, with Coach D'Antonio, it's pretty self-explanatory. When you come up here and get a chance to meet everybody around here and see what's going on, you know, it's kind of you guys know what our program is like. It's kind of a no-nonsense affair. You're going to work real hard, and you know, there's no box of chocolates. It's not a rosy situation. You're going to work really hard and earn your keep. And a lot of guys appreciate that kind of approach. And when Joe was a guy that was an outstanding athlete, I mean, that's just a matter of going there and seeing. Joe was one of those guys that was probably a really under-recruited guy, you know, not just by one or two places. Hardly anyone else recruited him, you know, so, you know, that was one of those situations. It wasn't really hard to just go and find a guy like that. I mean, he had some unique things that he was doing athletically, you know, and there's been some other guys in those similar situations, but that's one easy example that you bring up.
Anything else for Coach? All right.
Thank you, Senator.
Appreciate it.